No, can't hear me. Can anybody hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. Thank you, Frank. Thank you for joining us. How you doing, Emily? How you doing, Hannah? Joseph, Andre, Beth, Jack. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's session is going to be fun. Fun because I like learning strategies that are going to help drive productivity. And as a real estate agent, no fluff, just how to do it is what I like to do. So let's jump in here today. Overall, has everybody? What is everybody? Are we all using or working on expireds right now? If you're working on expireds, put a 1 in the chat, and we can start having a little bit of this conversation while we get Curtis and Elena in here. Yes, so Beth is working on expireds. Michael, how's your all's experience been so far? Are we seeing a better compared to the first 7 or 8 months of last year? No success though. Okay. All right. Hopefully today's strategies and sessions help drive that. Okay. Give everybody a couple of minutes to warm up as we get people in here. Back on the team. Okay. 1 second.
Are we all co-host?
We technically, you're not a co-host, but we allow you guys to jump in here if you have any questions or anything like that. It populates.
I want to make sure I welcome
see you. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. It's not showing on my end. How you doing, Meg?
I think you're frozen, Jeff.
I'm frozen?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. 1 second. It's live. Technical difficulty.
We can hear you.
Hello, is Jeff here or am I the only one here so far?
No, you're here. I'm just frozen.
Oh, okay.
So,
it was just eerily quiet as soon as I hopped in live.
No, I was trying to fix what I broke. If you don't mind taking lead on this one right now, Elena,
Sure.
while I try to work on this piece.
Yeah, sure thing. So today's special guest, I'm going to go right in since we're 4 minutes late. Thank you. I'm sorry I was a couple minutes late. Today's guest is Curtis Fenn, president of REDX. And Curtis has spent more than 16 years helping agents build predictable listing pipelines through expires, FSBOs, farming, and more. And REDX has supported over 100,000 agents in sharpening how they prospect. So in today's session, Curtis is going to go over how to win the listing before you even call. So with that said, Curtis, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you so much. So good to be here. Everybody get a thumbs up. The only person I can see is Elena and Jack, but you can hear me okay?
Yeah, and I do see a couple of people with their cameras on. This is, like usual, it's interactive. So please, if you are open to be on camera, have your camera on, get ready to post your questions in the chat as we go through this. And yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And well, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for allowing me to be here. that's I should probably update my bio. I just hit 20 years in real estate 2 weeks ago, 20 years at REDX. And of course, when we started 20 years ago, we were kind of just the expired and FSBO data company. And it's a little hard to get out of that reputation if people have known us for a long time. But over the 20 years, we've really changed to really more of a marketing strategy of helping people think like marketers so that they don't have to grind on the phone prospecting, because not only is that whole landscape changing, but it's not as effective as it used to. You know, we used to be able to pick up the phone, make 100 dials, and have 20 conversations, and set appointments and go. Right now, the connection rates that we're seeing across the country are right around 8%. So that's one is where people, you're not calling, do not call numbers anymore. So you're calling the numbers you are allowed to call, and those people answer yes or less, but it's still a great opportunity. So I am going to talk about how not only to make the phone call better, but maybe so you don't even have to pick up the phone except when an expired listing or a FSBO listing or a pre-foreclosures or whatever you're marketing to, people who are highly likely to do business with you, where you might not even need to pick up the phone at all. How's that sound?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, who would love to not have to pick up the phone and to take an expired listing? I think.
Now, what I don't have is the magic solution that magically puts commissions in your bank account, which sometimes I feel like agents are looking for, but probably not in this group. So, yeah, I do want to talk about all of these things. Let me figure out how to share my screen. I'm going to share a few stats that I think are relevant to the conversation here.
Sure thing. And a question for the chat, talking about strategies that have worked over the years and maybe is getting harder and harder now. For those of you who work expireds, how many of you pull an expired list, say make 20, 30, 40 calls, and then walk away with maybe a few do not call me's again, and you're lucky if you get a good connection? Like, if that resonates with you, put yes in the chat. I see Jack raising his hand and saying that's me. And Natasha says yes.
Cool. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, look, before I share my screen, because I finally figured out how to do that, but before I share that screen, I just want to talk a little bit about how things are changing. Has anybody heard the term trust recession?
No.
Has anybody heard that being floating around in the marketing world?
No,
Well,
just the recession.
just the recession. Yeah, we're in real estate, so recession can be a pretty triggering word here. But the trust recession is a term it's talking about how trust is receding in our society and in our culture. It's getting harder for people to trust what they're seeing online. AI is expediting that a little bit. People are skeptical. They're hesitant. Even think about your own behavior. And if anybody knows what I'm saying, I would love to see it in the chat or speak up. But even the way we're buying on Amazon is different. We used to go to Amazon, we'd find a solution, we'd kind of look over, and if it met a threshold of reviews, a certain star review, then we would probably buy it. But more and more, and what even Amazon is seeing is that people are clicking into the reviews. Mm-hmm. They're reading the negative reviews because they want to understand the truth and experience that people are having. And more importantly than that, they're looking for the pictures that Amazon lets real users upload to see what people are like. Jeff, welcome to see your face finally. So things are changing.
My bad, y'all.
There's this trust recession going on, and it's changing the way that we perceive and do things and how we buy things. That's no different than what's happening in real estate.
And just to piggyback off what you said, Curtis, is I do that. So I guess put in the chat, like, do you do that? I'm not even just talking about real estate agents, but I do that at a restaurant. I do that for a restaurant. Before I go to the restaurant, I look at the 1-star reviews, because especially in like e-commerce space or anything, like there are deals out there where they say, if you write us a 1-star review or a 5-star review, then we'll give you a free meal out of it, And so I don't trust 5-star reviews. I only trust the 1-stars. And then I decide from the 1-stars if this person was crazy or if it was a legitimate 1-star review. And then I buy it.
Yeah, it is changing. And so there's a couple of things. Write this down. This one's a really great one. There is the word brand, I think, is thrown around a lot in not only our industry and everywhere. They talk about brand and your personal brand. Well, if you think about brand merely as the belief or opinion that someone has about you, because we can only control and influence brand so much. But brand is becoming the number one way that people are choosing not just products, but agents. This is why referrals are so great. It comes with borrowed authority from someone who they know, like, and trust to give a referral, so that can increase our chances of them having a belief or opinion about us before we even start talking to them. So the way that things are changing and the way we need to start shifting the way that we think about lead generation in real estate is how do we influence the opinion or belief about us and our company and our services and our ability to help them buy or sell their house? How do we influence that brand or reputation before we ever are in contact with them? And this is in theory, I know this is like, yeah, great, that makes sense. And I'm going to show you how to do this. But I just want to set the tone of, we're talking about the way that you win listings without having to grind and pick up the phone, and without having to really convince someone and overcome a negative connotation right out of the gate, is if they have an opinion or belief about you before it even starts, then we're able to drastically change the outcome of what we're doing. So
I think that resonates so well in every aspect of it. So like we do this a lot with newer leads, older leads, quote unquote, that are in our database, retargeting, but also on the recruiting as we're growing our team. A lot of people we're getting so many more yeses because we're seeing how they're coming in. So even from the brainstorm session and the conversation, what you're about to go over, it's like, oh man, duh. Like, why forever have we been doing it the opposite way? So like, that's where I get a little giddy, because I'm sending this over to our agents who are making these dials and focusing on expired. Like, how about you switch it up a little bit? Just make one little tweak and see how it grows.
Yeah, and I also put in the chat of brand loyalty. Like Chris, my husband, he realized this as we're reading a book called The Siren's Call. Realizing, oh my gosh, he's brand loyal to DeWalt for power tools, even though they use the same manufacturer as other power tool companies. And he's like, but I'm still not going to change my behavior.
Sorry for the difficulty here. I'm having a hard time getting it to share the right screen. It's funny.
So you see this share button. It's just giving you a hard time of figuring out which screen.
Well, it won't let me present. There we go. Okay. So brand, the first thing we talk about is brand. That's important. Let me just briefly, if I could, and Elena, Jeff, sorry that I'm going to take 3 minutes here and insert something that was new, that we hadn't really talked about. But part of the challenge, I just know from 2 decades of talking to agents, as soon as I start talking about expired listings, they start to tune out, because it's been so synonymous with this chew glass prospecting mentality that you just gotta chew glass every day, and then you're gonna be able to live this life that you never dreamed of. And I believe you can have your cake and eat it too. I believe that if you do things the right way, that you can create a steady stream of listing business and do it the right way. So I just want to talk about the opportunity and not have you tune out when we talk about expireds and FSBOs. But the first thing is, NAR is saying that the number of listing transactions that people have is less than 5 deals a year. That's the average. I don't think this is an average group, but we just wanted to point that out. One of the challenges that we have right now in the market is that we're at historic lows. We're actually midway through the year. Around June is the last stat I could find. We're at 2.77% turnover rate in America, in the United States. So we have historic lows. Well, we're still working our databases. We're still working with our friends and family in our sphere of influence, but half as many people are transacting. In fact, the average years lived in a home is up to 11. It's not a 7-year cycle that we always keep talking about in real estate. The average person is living in their homes 11 years right now. And we don't need to talk in detail about why that is. I think we know why that is. People are stuck or handcuffed with interest rates. They're only moving with extreme lifestyle events, and things are happening. So all that to say, there's just less transactions available in your sphere of influence. People know less people who are transacting than they used to, so referrals are less abundant than they used to be. Is anybody experiencing that? Well, I want to show you the opportunity. Thanks.
No, really,
Yes.
we're seeing it a lot in our even within our on our team, right? So this is what you're saying is exactly what we're seeing. We're also seeing a lot of experienced agents, 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the game, joining a team who are getting hand raiser opportunities. And when we're having these conversations with them, it's because of this pain point. Their referral business that they build their business on is a third or 50% of what it was 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, and that's not just in the United States, that's in Canada too. Like I've been having more and more conversations with people in Canada where maybe the market's a bit harder in Canada because people are even more unsure about the market. And so they are sitting and holding more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so then the challenge is as a marketer, and again, that's what I talk about a lot, is we got to think like a marketer. And a marketer says, okay, well, I want to spend my time, energy, and effort and money on an audience that has the highest potential to have an ROI. That's what a marketer does. They first start with, who am I going to go after? The audience. This is why any ad campaign, if you're doing any marketing, they first say, well, who do you want to target? Who is it? And I would say, we track this. We've tracked it for 20 years now. This data is accurate as of last Thursday. So expires and cancels over the last 12 months are relisting at 43.9%. This is across the country. So 43.9% of those that are coming off the market, regardless of why they're coming off the market. And we're seeing people cancel and pull their listings off at a rate that we haven't seen since 2016. Redfin recently said we haven't seen this type of people pulling and canceling listings since in a really long time. So expires and canceled are coming off the market in droves, but what people don't understand is 43.9% of them are going to go back on the market. And they're going to go back on the market in an average time of right now is 41 days. So, and again, about 51% of them sold, which is higher than the average of just all listings. So the second time around, more of them are selling. And again, we could go into all the reasons why. Everybody assumes it's because of lower price point. But in our research, whether they list at the same price, whether they list at a greater price, or whether they list at a lower price, if they list with a new agent, they have a higher chance of selling no matter what the price point is. The other thing is in 2026, we're trending a 22% increase in expired and canceled listings over 2025. 2025 was a 25% increase of expireds and cancels over 2024. So this number is going up and up and up. It's a lot. Some results of what happens when the second time around with the expires and canceled. If they list with a new agent, 54% of them are selling, and if they list with the same agent, 36% of them are selling. You should steal this in your presentations if you're ever in front of a expired and canceled, because these are real stats. And all of this means that homeowners have a 50% better chance of selling if they relist with a new agent or with a different agent than if they relist with the same agent.
Can I ask why?
Yeah, that's a great question. Does anybody have any theories why?
I see
Alberto.
raised. Go ahead.
Alberto, you can take yourself off mute. Hey, what up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Sorry, I'm staring at the screen that's bigger, but this is the camera. So I would say multiple reasons. Number one, different perspective, different communication style. And the second agent's probably being honest with them about the price.
Yep.
So I guess is the theory that it was either like a family member or just someone desperate to get the listing, and so they just said yes to everything? Is that what it is?
No.
It can be.
We have another one from Natasha as well. What does Natasha think?
Hey guys. Yeah, just piggybacking off that, I think I like, it's always good to be the second agent. There's so many reasons why, but I feel like the psychology of the seller has changed a little bit, kind of alluding to what Curtis was saying. And I feel like they're a little more open. And I've got a Yorkie behind my head, so in case anybody,
it's okay. It looks super dope. It looks really
like
cool.
A great furry cat. So I feel like it's really about the psychology of the seller for one. I think sometimes they've gone through the hard lessons. They might be in a different position timing wise or financially and have to make a decision now because it's been on market for 6 months, 3 months, whatever, and hasn't gone. So now they're more likely to listen to the second agent. And like everybody's saying, we're going to come in. You can't be BSing people on the second time around. You got to shoot them straight. So I think we do a better job as agents the second time around saying this is exactly the price, the position, the presentation, take it or leave it. Because we know we can walk away from it, right? They're in a position to need to sell. And I just feel like it changes the dynamic a little bit. So
Love it.
I think a big part of that too, just to chime in real quick, is that the market's already been tested at a price that failed. So as the second agent, you have the benefit of, somebody else's mistake all day long. You can paint that picture and justify the number that you're going to use, and they're going to believe you. They just like, yeah, it makes sense. I understand now. So
all of that is true. I do want to point out in our research that about a third of them don't change their price, and it still sells at a much higher rate. And so while pricing is always the number one thing, in fact, we see and you see this, you guys know this intuitively because you look at a house and the longer it's on, the more days on market, you start to wonder what's wrong with the property. And so your greatest chance to sell a home is right when, in the beginning when it gets listed. And so part of that is each new agent has different network of people. They have different connections inside their brokerage. From a marketing perspective, you are taking what you're selling and you're putting it in front of completely different eyeballs, right? So you're exposing that to a different audience. But when we did research and said, okay, ignore price, what are the other number one reasons why something sells? It's almost always photography. Right. So and this is, it's really sad when somebody's been on the market for a long time and the agent's grinding, they're trying to do it. And then you go on there and they have a terrible image. They have 4 pictures, instead of the maximum amount that you can upload. And they're taken with an iPhone. Some of them we laugh at because, we sometimes we share the worst ones around. My favorite ones are a picture of the front house from an iPhone where you can see that they didn't even get out of their vehicle to take the picture of the home, right? So again, as a side tangent here, if you have a listing that's going to expire and you want to keep that listing, you have two things. And I say this not to offend anybody, but if your ego would allow, you would realize you have a better chance of making money if you would call your seller and say, look, you chose me because I'm really great at what I do. But for some reason, my connections aren't getting this house sold. I'd like to introduce you to another agent in my office who has a different network of people who's really good at getting homes sold. And then at least you could get a referral fee from that other agent, because from a probability standpoint, you might make more money doing that. If you're not going to do that, you at least have to say, okay, I'm going to treat this like a new listing, new photography, new staging, new descriptions that you're writing, and all of the things, new marketing strategy, and then you have a greater chance of selling that. So those are tangents. We have a ton of material on this, and we're kind of the data nerds, right? And so we have a lot more information on this stuff that you can track down and find. Here's the other interesting. That's right. So the average days on market for listings with the same agent versus a new agent is also different, right? Again, the average days on market with the same agent, even when it does sell, is 89 days, where right now, if an expired or canceled list with the new agent, it's 74 days, right? And all of this is really to say there's this massive opportunity. Forget about how we're going to go into how you get these people to love you and list with you. But you have to understand that the audience, there's no predictive model out there that can say, hey, these people are most likely to list in your neighborhood, go after them. And that's a very popular thing for a lot of people to sell with AI and predictive analytics and these things, to say, hey, we can tell you who's going to list. But nobody can tell you at 44%. When you have a list of people in your market that are going to be back on the MLS in an average time of about 6 weeks, with a higher probability of selling than the other listings, then everybody should want a strategy to go after expireds and cancels. They're the number one opportunity in your marketplace, right? And so what we're really going to talk about then is how for $3 a day, and this isn't a pitch to REDX, this is $3 a day in advertising budget, that you can get these people to start raising their hand and start to call you. So, should I just go right into it?
Yes.
Jump right into it. I'm sorry. Like
tell me everything.
Yeah, I'm over here taking like detailed notes. Like, all right, cool. What's next?
Okay. Well, let me just tell you how you're going to do this, and then give you some prompts that in AI you can make it really easy. Right now, Forbes came out with an article recently that said we are in America exposed to anywhere between 6,000 and 10,000 advertisements per day, and that's crazy. And most of us hear that stat and go, nah. Well, the reason why you don't believe it is because we have programmed our brains to ignore almost everything. So we're ignoring all of the noise, and we're only paying attention to what is absolutely relevant and important to us, right? And that's because of this whole thing, the reticular activating system. That's our brain's gatekeeper. It's an alert system. It's the way that you could be deep in sleep, and then you hear your door rattle, and you'll snap right out of a deep sleep. It's always on. It's always paying attention, and it's always trying to make you aware of what is most important and relevant to you and your situation. It also happens to be part of the brain that is responsible for emotions, right? This is why sometimes it's hard to articulate how we feel with words, because words are processed on a different part of our brain than our emotions. It's also part of the brain where we make decisions. So if we can speak to someone in a way that is highly relevant to their emotional situation, then we're more likely to break through all of the noise that's happening all around them to do that. I'll give you an example. If you're doom scrolling, nobody does that here. Nobody wastes their time just scrolling. But let's say you were, and you're going through and you're ignoring almost everything, but you are getting on a plane to go to a real estate collective event because that's worth going to. And you have a plane ticket on Spirit Airlines. You wouldn't anymore. That's why it's a good example. So if you had a plane ticket on Spirit Airlines and you're just going through, and all of a sudden there was an article that said Spirit Airlines declares bankruptcy, cancels all flights. your brain would know that that's relevant to you because you have already purchased a flight, and you would see that article amongst all of the other noise, and you would stop and you'd be like, wait, what? And that would be really relevant. Even more relevant, and that becomes emotional because no matter who we are, when we spend our money, it makes it emotional. So the other thing is when you start thinking about an expired or a FSBO, or let's just do expired because that's what we're talking about, expired or canceled, they are in an emotional situation. So let's see here. I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I can't see people's faces or the chat when I'm sharing the screen. So the whole idea is we need to figure out the highly emotional situation. So I want either raise your hand or put in the chat, what do you think the most prevalent emotion that an expired listing is feeling after their home expires?
Defeated.
Defeated?
Frustration.
Frustration?
Embarrassment.
Embarrassment. Who said that? Was that Jack?
Yep.
Yeah, Jack, you're right. It's embarrassment, and that can manifest in frustration or anger or blame. But as we've done research and we've actually sent people out and been in the homes of people expired listings, we actually have quite a few videos where we've recorded their experience and try to understand what they're going through. Most of the time, it's embarrassed. They just spent 3 to 6 months saying goodbye to their neighbors, to their congregations, to their, PTA and their groups. They've said goodbye, and then all of a sudden they're not gone. And especially if that the sign comes out of the yard, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, did it sell?" And they're like, "No," they're embarrassed. That's an embarrassing situation. And if we understand that about where they're at, then all of a sudden we know how to speak to them in a way that breaks through all of the noise so that we can speak to the situation that they're in, right? FSBOs is a really easy one because NAR for 20 years does this survey with FSBOs and points out, like if you Google the NAR field guide FSBO statistics, I think it'll pull up. But they usually point out that the top reasons why it's hard for somebody to sell their home on their own. So they've done this research and they say this is what's really hard, right? And sometimes it's it's letting strangers into their home. It's the paperwork. Sometimes is the frustrating thing. They don't know how to market the property. Is on there every once in a while. But these are emotional experiences that people are having in that moment. Pre-foreclosure, right? There's another high list rate lead right now. The average days before they list is about 80 days, so it's taking longer. But somebody in foreclosure or has received a notice of default, that's an obvious emotional situation that you could break through very easily through all of the advertising and noise, right? So we want to start with the emotional situation. Here's a trick. Go into your AI of choice. I can't believe I still have to say this, but if you're not spending at least $20 a month on some AI, please go sign up for something. You need to be using this. But go to your AI of choice and just put in there. Help me understand the emotional situation of blank. This could be an empty nester that may be thinking about downsizing. This could be the expired. It could be the FSBO. It could be the canceled. Canceled is probably going to be different than expired. Expired is more embarrassed. It's canceled. Is the ones that are canceled in frustration are really frustrated. They really want to blame the agent and the market and what happened. And then there's a whole group of canceled that just canceled because of life. It was too inconvenient, or the pricing just didn't feel right or whatever. But these emotional situations, so you get in there and you say, what is the emotional situation of these things? And then once it gives you that, then you tell it, great. Now help me put this into an ad that I could target to the expired listings in my marketplace so that I can break through the noise and they would see me. And this sounds so simple, but do you guys just want to log in and we could do this and build an ad?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's
Okay,
run it.
I'm going to use REDX's platform, but just so I don't lose interest, this will work without REDX's platform. You can do this again. You could create all of the ad in ChatGPT. You can have your ad account in Facebook, and you can go build all of these things and do all of these things in Facebook. There's three parts to putting this together in practice. The first is understand who your audience is, and then you have to go get a list, right? So whether you export that list from your MLS and go to some data service to append it, you need phone numbers and email addresses, because what happens once you have the list of data, you can upload that into the ad platform. You know, Meta is still the number one place where that has the most attention from the buying and selling demographic. So that's where we suggest that people do a lot of their ad spend there.
That's where doom scrolling is happening.
That's right. So you can, well, I think TikTok has might own the doom scrolling. But yeah, there's a lot of doom scrolling. There's a lot of targeting. They're the ones everybody's trying to copy in. How do you target the right person? So you can take your list of expireds and cancels. You can put that into Facebook or Instagram. What they'll do is they'll go find all of those people, and then you can pay to have your content in front of them on a regular basis. And here's what you have to understand about the $3 a day claim is that ad spend gets expensive when you're trying to generate the lead. So if you're using Facebook to say, I'm trying to find the person and get them to give me their information, that's a completely different algorithm for Facebook or Instagram for Meta than if you said, here's some people I want my contact to be in front of them a whole bunch of times. So you're paying for exposure rather than trying to pay for them to take action. But the key is here is our messaging is going to be so relevant to what they're saying that we can get a lot of clicks and comments inside of Meta because we're speaking very directly to a specific audience of people. So the audience is key. Then the message is step 2. And then follow up is step 3. This is how you can list a whole bunch of people. Steven's asking, is that what is called market to your custom audience? Yes. Yep. You can market to a custom audience in Facebook because their native tools to target doesn't allow real estate. We're a special category, so it doesn't allow us to use their tools to target. So even geographically, you have to be at a 15-mile radius, a 30-mile area, and that's really hard to target the right people. So what you end up doing, you end up spending a whole bunch of money because Facebook's going to put that message out to everybody when it's only really relevant to a few people, right? Especially with the 3% turnover rate, that's a lot of ad spend to a large audience geographically. This is why this works so well. So,
and to piggyback on that, Elena just dropped a link to the session that we did yesterday, where in that session, we break down how to do exactly what Curtis is saying, right? How to understand your Facebook and how to go in there step by step and set this up. So put those two together, today's session and yesterday's, and boom.
Yep. If you don't know how to do it, watch the session yesterday.
Okay, so I'm going to log in and show you in principle how to do this from our platform. But again, watch the session yesterday. It doesn't have to be our platform. It's just what I know best. So if I come into Vortex, which is our lead management data platform, This is where you're going to have all of your prospects. So the expireds are going to come in here, and I have a list of expireds. You would want to filter that down, not just into expireds generally, unless you don't have enough, because in order to target a specific audience, you need to have at least 1,000. So a lot of times we recommend we'll just go back 6, 8, 10 months in your marketplace to find all of the expired and canceled that haven't yet relisted, so that you can get a good custom audience. And then our platform actually just directly integrates into Meta, to Facebook and Instagram. And I can pull this in, and I can create the ad right here, where I can say, okay, well, I'm going to try to, I want to create awareness. I want to build a brand and reputation with a certain group of people. So it's going to go in here, and I can say, well, I just want, my filter is expireds here, so I'm going to target all of these people. And then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to start to build an ad. Now,
so Curtis just took, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you just took what took an hour yesterday to explain, and it took you like 2 clicks of a button. So yeah, you can do it DIY and learn from the session yesterday, or you can do it a button.
Well, the other benefit is that then the custom audiences are maintained in real time. So if you just upload a list and you're paying Facebook to put that information in front of your list, well, that list is a static list. If you do it from our platform, any new expireds or anybody who relists is either being added to or taken away. If it matches the filter of who you want to target, then that is maintained in real time with Meta. So two things. So it means you're never paying for an ad to be or content to be in front of the wrong person. And it means that you are not marketing to an active listing when they go active again. So there's some benefits there. We also have another tool, and actually this one is free in the App Store. It's called REDX Brand Builder. If you go into your App Store on both Android and Apple, and do REDX Brand Builder. Don't fault me for trying to sell you when you log in. It'll try to make you buy, but just click the I want the free account button at the top. And this is a AI scripting and telemarketing tool on your phone. So you can come in there and you can say, hey, I want to create a new idea. And you can put something in, I want to speak to expired listings in my market and talk about the emotional experience of not selling a home and get them to message me. I don't know. That's going to go, and it's going to go when you set it up. You'll actually tell it a little bit about you, so that it tries to write and create content that you would want. This is all free. What's cool about that is once it creates that script, then on your phone or on the desktop, you can hit that teleprompter, and that way it'll start recording. But you can just kind of read through the script so that you can make a video.
And Curtis, does it make sense for us to show the prompts? Like I have the document, I think it's like 2 pages long of different prompts. Does it make sense to share that for those who want to use that? Or
100%. In fact, in full disclosure, one of my technical difficulties is I was trying to find that. So I'm glad I already gave it to you. I guess I was more prepared. Yes, I would love to. I'd love to give that. Yeah, give out. So this is what you would use, especially in ChatGPT. You could take that first prompt, put it in there, and then the second prompt would help you write all of the copy and do that. Yes, that is a great way to do that if you're not going to use this brand builder tool to create your video that you're going to want in that ad. But even with ChatGPT, don't just trust it. Read through it and go, does this feel like me? You could change how, what this is, what the script is, and you could do that. I'm not going to hit teleprompter. It kind of goes wacky when we're screen recording, but well, maybe I'll try. If it goes wacky, then it is. So So then this would just come up, the teleprompter. You can set the speed. I can sit there and I can now make a video that I'm going to use
If you
to put in
like,
front
guys, Curtis, I'm going to jump in here real quick.
of. Please.
He has taken away maybe 2 hours of time at this point.
Yeah.
In 3 or 4 clicks.
And now this. Yeah.
Yeah, like in 3 or 4 clicks, what's your reason or excuse for not being able to do this? There's a teleprompter built into it where all you have to do is look at a camera and read. People read it, and it's going to record it. Go ahead, Curtis. My bad.
No, thank you. Yep. So if once I'm in here, if I wanted to create this ad,
free.
and that part is free, absolutely. Yep. So and if you're in here, then of course all of my videos from Brand Builder would be in here. If I would have recorded that, then it would be here, and I could use as that ad and put that in there. On the phone app, it will also read. It will also read your video and suggest what copy you should put on. There's like 15 platforms. It says, so if you're going to put this content on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, it'll actually write the copy based on what you said in the video as well. You could add a website link if you wanted to, hey, click below, check out my 21-point marketing plan, or 800-point marketing plan, whatever you have. Sometimes I like the simple thing. It's just saying, hey, it's really frustrating, sometimes even embarrassing if your home doesn't sell. And there's really 3 reasons why your home didn't sell. And then you could give them the 3 reasons, or 2 reasons. There's one main reason why things don't sell: price. And if you were priced right, then maybe your agent did a good job, and there's something else. But the second thing might be the marketing around it, and which is why we have a 105-point proven market. Whatever. Yeah, you're not hard pitching here. You're trying to speak to the emotional situation that they're in to get that in front of them. We've tried to take the ad and make it simple. So you create the ad. Let's see if it'll let me keep going. I'll have a contact, learn more, call to action there. Of course, it might not let me go unless I upload something. So this is really simple. Afterwards, you just set your budget. So if you want it to be on Facebook and Instagram, then you $3 a day. You don't have to even do $3 a day for each platform. You do $3 a day, and $3 a day, in depending on what market you're in, can get your content in front of 1,000 people in the week. And if those 1,000 people are the expired listings that you're targeting, or the canceled listing that you're targeting, they might be able to see that video multiple times in a day. And if it's speaking to the emotional situation that they're in, they're going to pay attention. We've heard a lot that it's 7 to 12 touches, but recently they're saying with the way our brains are being trained to ignore everything, they're saying it's closer to 50. The only way to break through that is to speak really intentionally to the situation that they're in. This is why everybody, I'm sure everybody's seen these ads where it's like they know how to target you based on demographics. So they're like, if you're a dude that can do 50 push-ups and you're over 45, and all they're doing is trying to speak and make it relevant to you so that your brain pays attention to it. And it's better if you just get into the emotional situation, right? But you set the budget. You still have to do the disclosure because we're still in real estate. I will tell you that their algorithms will reject. I think, I don't know a percentage. So I'm totally guessing here, but it feels like they reject about 1/3 of everything that comes through because you said you're in real estate and you're talking about real estate. So if they reject it, then you just hit it again, because the only reason why they're allowed to reject it is if you're talking about things you're not supposed to talk about in there. So any protected classes and HUD and all of that you don't want to talk about. But otherwise, you just submit it again, and usually it will go through the second time on your ad, and then it's running. And if you're using Vortex as a plug, if you're using Vortex, then it can run kind of evergreen as long as you're seeing results in the stats. Then then you could just leave that going, because again, that audience is constantly changing based on who's expiring and canceling, who's relisting and coming off the market, and putting it in there.
Yeah, and I just posted in the chat, like I just use dummy random information and data because I'm not an agent, and just with what you've given so far, I made an amazing script. If I were an agent, I would love this script.
Yep. So, and that's awesome.
Elena, did you use the tool or did you do this in Claude or GBT?
I did it in Claude. I need to do it in the tool. So Curtis, with the tool, do I need to put in that fancy prompt, or do I just say, give me an ad or a video?
The tool is designed to write ads the way that I'm teaching anyway, where there's kind of a formula to the scripts that you want in your content. So you don't have to use those full large prompts that we're giving away. That's if you're going to go to ChatGPT. And this one, I would be way less descriptive. I give it a single sentence prompt, because what's better about this is it will give you the sections that are necessary for a successful video. But then you can move those sections around, or you can have AI edit each individual section before you hit the teleprompter and go through and make the video. So, and so you want to target these people. And what happens is we're seeing people get amazing results because people are raising their hand. But if you really want to expedite or get exponential results, then you have to add other types of marketing activity on top of that. Because people will start to form an opinion or belief about you, but we're also conditioned to be really skeptical of clicking that button through social media, right? This is why ad spend's going up, because less people are clicking. So, Facebook has to do more to get people to click. So, we're seeing the top producing agents and teams that are really doing well is they're trying to create an omnipresence with the audience. So we know 44% are going to be back on the MLS. So we want them to see us a whole bunch online. We want to send them postcards, like postcards are crushing it right now. Actually, in a lot of marketing,
we're doing all of that. And jump in here and to corroborate with you, Curtis. We are. Like, as I'm talking, Charity is working on building, doing what she's on the call right now, right? So we're building as you're talking, because we're already sending the postcards. We're already making the phone calls. We're doing the open houses in those neighborhoods. We're door knocking. We're all these little things are already going around. And one of the things I try to coach if you're going to do something, it's not an or. Like right now, it's an and an or. It went from 12 to 20 or 12 to 50 touches. That means you're not doing an or, it's an and. You got to add more onto it, and making sure everything is, they're all of those pieces are talking together and saying the same thing.
That's right.
From what's been working on our side.
Sorry, I wasn't on mute, and you can probably hear my clicky clacks as I was.
Right. When you type, we listen. So yeah, it is omnipresent, and door knocking still works. We do a survey that we've done for like 15 years. Agents who consistently make over $250,000 a year in GCI still knock doors, and when we ask why, the answer is it's still a people business. There's nothing that beats toe to toe, face to face, talking to people, and the best success metric that we have at REDX is when somebody calls and they say, I went to a community event, and somebody's like, oh, I see your videos all the time, and they're going, I just spent $3 a day on one thing. You just saw it a whole bunch of times in the last 2 weeks. You haven't really seen a ton of my videos. You just saw my face a whole bunch of times in the last few weeks. And then they were in a situation where they were face to face with the person, and all of a sudden there's an opinion or belief about you. And so it warms it all up. So if you're still calling, right, how much better when they do that? And two things will happen. You'll call and they might say, you're the 10th agent that's called me, and they'll hang up, and then they'll be doom scrolling, and their brain just put Jeff's name in their mind. So they're scrolling. They're like, oh, and it starts to create familiarity. And then all of a sudden the tide raises all ships, and all of your other efforts start to be more effective. Questions?
Well, I'll hop in there selfishly. If you're a team lead that covers multiple markets, sorry, Southern California, I will not stop. If you cover multiple markets, is it, or should we be segmenting this data and then applying $3 a day for Orange County, $3 for Riverside, $3 for San Bernardino? Is that a strategy or a tactic that you would recommend?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, we've got an agent in Hawaii that does really good with segmenting his audience with these ads, because most of the people he's targeting don't live in Hawaii. They live somewhere else. So he's targeting the homeowners of all of these properties, and he'll go and make the video in front of the neighborhood sign where their property is, and then target that community. Because again, they're doom scrolling. They say, oh, well, that's where their house is, so they're going to pay more attention. So the real answer is your budget constraints on that, because $3 a day is I would scale that as much as you can. $3 is where you need to start, but you would want to scale that where it is, and the more you can scale it, and the tighter the messaging and relevance to the audience you're going after. So, a video that says, it's really frustrating when homes aren't selling in Riverside. It's more effective if you say, it's really frustrating when homes aren't selling in whatever, Monte Vista neighborhood on the east side of, Rivers. Like, all of those things are again speaking. You're trying to trigger that brain filter to say, this is relevant to me and my situation. So the tighter the message, the more effective it is.
I think also too, like, I was going to ask, is $3 a day enough? And you said, well, for Jeff, when he's running multiple markets, you increase. But I think you can even keep an eye on the frequency. Like, Facebook shows you the frequency that people see your ad. So I probably need to bump mine up. My frequency is only 1, and I want to be seen more than once in this custom audience.
Yep. So
you got to 50 times that, girl.
Yep. Well, not if it's the right message, Jeff. That's what we're trying to sell. She's got the right message, and so yeah. So what other questions? How can I help? I want people to get listings.
I'm going to keep asking questions and hogging unless someone else unmutes or asks a question.
You talk about $3 a day. Is that per hit or per person, or is that just covering a big area?
Well, that's going to cover the custom audience you want to upload. So I would choose the audience like expireds, and I would start with at least $3 a day to expireds. What you could also do, and this is a bigger webinar, but we really are trying to teach people, you have to choose audiences that are highly likely to do business with you, where they're in an emotional situation. And expires is just the cleanest, obvious emotional situation with the highest list rate. But FSBOs is right there behind. Right now, we're seeing almost 30% of all FSBOs end up on the MLS in about 6 weeks, an average time of 6 weeks. As a listing, even more are using the help of agents over time on the buy side and things. But 30% of them are going to list their home with an agent within about 6 to 7 weeks from when they decide to try to sell their home on their own. So that's another great audience. Other things are just like absentee owners, or even if you're running an open house and you could pull 1,000 people in the neighborhood and target those people for an open house, that's worth $3 a day for a few weeks to get people to show up to your open house. And so it's really about the audience. So I would say $3 a day is going to get your content in front of a list of about 1,000 people. If you're going bigger than that, you might want to spend more money. But I think Elena's advice was best. Is you want to kind of look at it and go, because it will show you, even in our stats, it will show you the exposure rate. And if people are only seeing your stuff once a day, maybe you turn that up, especially for something that's more timely, like an open house. You want to, shoot for 3 times and get them to see it. So.
Natasha, go ahead. I see your hand is raised.
Thank you. So add time to calling time. Is there a suggestion for lead time or ramp up time with that? So like, do you put the ads out there and then maybe try to call within 3 days, a week, 3 weeks? Is there some data around that we can look at or hear?
Yes. Yes, this depends on, I would say this depends on your pain tolerance a little bit. Like you're going to start calling as soon as it expires, and it's going to take a few days for Facebook to figure out the right cadence to put it in there. So if you're okay with calling and competing with all the agents in the first few days, there's a lot of listings won in the first few days when a listing expires. It's also where you piss off the most amount of homeowners because they're getting all of those phone calls. So that kind of depends on your pain tolerance and over time. I love past expireds. I love going back in your market for a year or 2 years if you're in a market that and just go back in time and if they've never relisted their home, they wanted to sell it for a reason. And you can make a video that targets like to try to get them in that emotional place of you wanted to leave or wanted to move. Why? Mm-hmm. And for a low dollar amount, have that one kind of as this longer term strategy of like just building reputation for when they're ready again to reach out. I really like past expires for that. The competition's done. I mean, people aren't calling them after a month anyway. So I like the longer strategy. More passive. So
yeah, and you kind of keep that ad running in the background. Okay,
that's right.
Good advice. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Joseph.
Hey Curtis, I had a question. I'm in Connecticut and I use the Connecticut MLS service. And last time I tried, a few months ago, that you weren't tied into them directly. I had to go in somehow and get that information. Have you corrected that issue?
That's probably a great question for my team. I don't know. There are a handful of MLSs that in order to get set up, you and our team will help you do it all. But it does require, once you have everything saved in your MLS, that it's a few click process every morning. You have to click the export and then import it into our system to do the data append and the relisting check. And it's to just be candid. It's painful to get set up. Once it's set up, it's pretty easy process every day. So I don't know your particular MLS, but there are a handful around the country that either don't want to give feeds or they want to charge hundreds of thousands of dollars for the feeds, and so we can still do everything else. You just have to import the expireds on a daily basis.
I'll ask them again because I didn't understand when they were trying to do it the first time around.
Okay,
thank you.
There was a question in the chat from Andrea. What if I only want to target a small geographic audience?
Yep. You have to have in order to do a custom audience on Meta, you need at least 1,000 people for them to try to target. You start with where you're at. And of course, we have the GeoLeads tool that you can draw a map around a geographic area and it will find the names, phone numbers, email address of every homeowner in that area. So with the GeoLeads tool, you can find that and pull that out and to target those people.
And is it able to pull out the custom audience information? Because, you know, not all data is accurate. So if there's inaccurate phone numbers and stuff, it's still able to cross-reference and find those too.
Well, you're never going to be 100% match rate because they're matching to the data that they have on file. So what we usually say is, well, when we're casting a slightly wider net because it's so inexpensive to get in front of a few of the wrong people than to not target the greater list. So usually we might have 2 or 3 or 4 possible phone numbers, and we're uploading all of those to create the custom audience because it casts a wider net. We get a better match rate they get a better match rate, but they don't tell you who matches and who doesn't.
And when people have done it to me in the past, they just find me and my husband's number. So they're getting a 2-in-1.
Yeah. So,
And I noticed you're using
Facebook,
the Meta. What do you see versus Google price-wise, or you suggest the Meta better?
yeah, for this type of audience, I think YouTube is really great. We're working hard to integrate with YouTube. That's my next, favorite platform for this. And again, it's because you can really target people at the emotional response that they're in. It's one thing, YouTube Shorts, that's another just doom scroll strategy, the same as Fizbo. But some of the YouTube ads on longer form stuff, it's because people are trying to find a solution and trying to figure something out on their own. And for you to have an ad that is a solution to the problem, YouTube's great. But we're not quite integrated into YouTube yet. So Google makes it real tough.
But YouTube is cheap. Like I still
YouTube
haven't
is
tried to take advantage of it. I know that Jeff can probably attest to that. I think you've been starting to run ads, and then Chase, who wasn't able to make it today, he's been running ads on YouTube, and he won a listing because people recognized him from his ads on YouTube. So another great avenue to explore.
Yeah.
Can you use those AI prompts to
Curtis,
still
I have a
help
question.
Google ads?
Uh-huh. Yeah, because it's all content driven, and the principle. I mean, you could even use those same prompts and just keep going on the conversation to say, "Great, help me design a postcard in Canva that speaks to these people." I mean, the channel is underneath the strategy of break through the noise by speaking to the emotional situation that they're in, and that's why AI is so great to be able to say, okay, now that I have the message, now I can choose a channel and customize what we've figured out for each of those different channels.
Question. Are we being would the videos be very specific videos for for example, expires that expired in July, or are there more evergreen videos?
I would suggest more evergreen videos because in 20 years, the emotional experience that they have is the same. They're embarrassed, they're frustrated, they want to blame the last person, they never want it to be their fault, and that message can resonate with a group of people. So the way that I think about how to segment and target is cohorts of emotional situation or response, right? So and then that can be evergreen.
Okay, thank you.
Andre, you've had your hand raised, and if you've been waiting patiently, go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to know, what is the ideal amount of time that the ad should be for Facebook and Instagram? And then also, if I want to utilize REDX's platform to do all this, what is the cost to utilize your platform?
Yeah. So the ideal time, Facebook says, hey, we need 7 days to really figure out an ad. A learning period is what they call it, for 7 days. And then after that, it can start being really effective right out of the gate. But again, what we're trying to do is exposure.
No, I mean how long the actual ad itself, 30 seconds, 45 seconds.
Oh, yes. Yep, under 60 seconds.
Okay,
Under 60
cool.
seconds for Facebook, Instagram. Yep. So, and then pricing starts like our ad builder, the free teleprompter AI scripting thing, and then ad builder, which creates a custom audience, starts at $50 a month. and then you would just choose what data you want. If you wanted everything that we offer, all the lead types, expireds, FSBOs, pre-foreclosures, vacant rentals, absentee owners, the geo leads, the ad builder that connects to Meta, the brand builder teleprompter app, along with our postcard system. We actually have a postcard system that's really unique because every postcard comes with a unique QR code, so that when someone scans it, you actually know what home scanned your QR code, so that you know who to follow up with. All of that is $298 a month.
And I just put a link in the chat for that.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much.
That's a good price.
Yeah,
That's a
all
great
of us
price.
we're like, if we sell one a year, that's like 4 years worth of ROI.
Yeah, well, and actually that also comes with the dialer on there, and for that price, and then for teams, it's only $75 a user on top of that. We have a great follow-up boss integration then, so you don't want to muddy up your follow-up boss with a bunch of prospect data. So you prospect, and as soon as someone raises their hand, then it would go directly into follow-up boss for all the nurturing and conversion.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, last call. Final question can be asked before I wrap up and give everyone homework. Okay, I think we got through it all. So your homework is download the REDX brand builder. It's free, as we've been saying. You can find it in the Google Play Store or the App Store. I also posted the direct links in the chat. Go into it, give it a prompt of the neighborhood or the city you're targeting, and create that 30-second video. And post that video in the discussion space in Real Estate Collective. And we would love to see what everyone's creating and building from the prompt builder and that brand builder. And if you are doing, no, I'm not even going to say if you're doing DIY, just use the brand builder. And then pull your list of expireds and add them as a custom audience, or use REDX's platform. If you're doing that manual pull, watch the hour-long video yesterday to learn how to do that, or sign up for REDX and do it in one button. Curtis, thank you so much for your time today. This has been awesome. And once you do launch for YouTube, I think we have to have you back. Like, I'm already penciling you in. Like, I'm going to be asking, when is YouTube launch for you? So we can.
I don't know, where can we find the video from yesterday?
Where's the video? I put it in the chat. I'll repost it.
Okay.
Gosh, because it's kind of high up there. One second. Okay, let me copy the link and paste it there. There it is. Replay. Turn the database you already own into Facebook audience, but this still applies to expire listings, not just your existing database.
Hey, I do have one last disclaimer. When you go to download that free brand builder app, the pricing for the app is a product that we haven't talked about yet, where we actually have a full team of editors that will edit those videos, produce those videos, and post them for you, for not just organic, but for the other. And so, so just don't get, when you look at that price, go, oh, he said $298. But the pricing on the app is just selling the social media fulfillment team on that side. So, but Jeff, based on your face, we should talk. We should get a full demo.
Yes, like this is, yeah, like they just have them hook it up, run it, make the phone calls, call when they're supposed to, meet the client, close the deal, rinse and repeat, go make $250,000, $500,000, and then do it again. I like it.
Well, and our whole goal, and you know, we went through this 10-year period where there was all these portal leads, and leads start getting more expensive. And we're seeing teams that are being dissolved or going out of business because they relied on someone else's funnel to generate their own leads. And what we're trying to do is give you all of the pieces necessary to take control of the lead generation in your business, so that you can consistently and have get listings and have the stability that we're all fighting for. So,
yeah, for sure.
I love it.
Thank you.
Jeff, do you want to close it out, or you want me to do the official closeout?
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. All right, cool. First, the conversation does not have to stop here. You want before we go on, Curtis, thank you so much for this. Step-by-step breakdown of exactly how to do something that's simple, but not necessarily so easy. And so we can all really benefit from it. Everybody, we want you to head into our discussion space inside of our REC and post your biggest takeaway from today's session. Elena gave you homework. That's the same place we want you to post the homework as well. What's the one thing you're going to try, test, or apply this week from his session? He gave you a tool. The tool's free. Go build it. Leverage the tool. Do the add-on if it works. Like, test it out. Give him feedback. He wants this to be great. And that's where a lot of the learning is going to compound, because you'll see what other agents are also going to be posting. So if we all get in there and we all post, it can be really amazing. If you're not a pro member yet into REC, don't worry. Quarterly is only $117. Go ahead, join the REC community. This is what we do. We build intentionally to help you grow your business. No fluff, just the real breakdown, step-by-step of how to grow your business right there in the Real Estate Collective. So with that being said, we want to thank all of you guys.
There's coupon code too. It's not 117 people. It's not $117 for people today. It's 97 through the coupon code I just attached in the shop.
See, even better. Look at that. Stick around and get a discount. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much. Welcome to the community. Curtis, let's just go ahead and book that next session. And then we'll rock and roll from there. Thank you, brother.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, you guys.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.